Hello everybody and welcome to today's video where I'm going to be weighing in on the age-old question of should you go to college for video game development. Now, of course, only you can make this decision for yourself if you want to choose to go to school for game development or not. So I'm here to give my experience of going to college for game development, and I'm going to be talking a little bit about why I think you should go to college for video game development. Because I think you see a lot of people online saying that no, you don't need to go to college for game development. That's true, you definitely do not need to go to college for video game development. If you wanted to get into game development, it's the experience that really matters. And you can get that experience without going to college, but you do have to do a little bit more stuff on your own. So we will be going into that just a little bit. But just know that, again, I see a lot of people out online saying that, avoid college if you want to get into game development. But here I'm going to be talking a little bit about why I think you should go to college and kind of some of the factors that played into me deciding to go to college for game development. So anyways, if you enjoy this video and you found it helpful, make sure you hit that like button. Also, feel free to subscribe to the channel for lots more videos on video game development. Of course, if you have any questions for me or suggestions for future videos, feel free to leave those down in the comments section below. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on going to college for game development. Do you think it's a good idea, a bad idea? Let me know why. So if you couldn't tell already, I went to California State University, Chico. I graduated in the fall of 2016, which is just over 3 years ago, which is pretty crazy. Time flies. And here's my degree right here. You can open it up. Got a nice picture of the administration building on here. And here's the actual degree itself. Says I got a Bachelor of Science in Computer Animation and Game Development with an option in game development. So anyways, I graduated in 4 years with that degree. Also got 3 minors, which is hilarious. I got a minor in computer science, minor in game design, and then science, technology, and values. So they're literally just like handing those things out like candy. So I'm like, sure, why not? More words, right? So now I'm going to talk a little bit about why I chose to go to college for game development and why I chose Chico specifically. So kind of when I was in high school, I sort of had an interest in programming video games. I don't know why. I just kind of always found the thought of developing video games interesting. Of course, this was kind of at the time before the whole indie craze, and there wasn't really a whole lot of, people on YouTube making video games and stuff like that. So I didn't really know much about the actual process of making a video game. It just kind of sounded interesting to me because growing up, I enjoyed video games, and the times that I have kind of dabbled with computer programming, I really took a liking to it. And at that point in my life, I'd kind of always thought like, well, if I wanted to do something, that I'd have to, go to a class and learn from a teacher, and there'd be a curriculum for it and everything like that. And, there's no way I could learn computer programming on my own or game development on my own. I didn't really realize that that was kind of an option. And especially because I'm getting ready to graduate high school and all my friends are applying to different schools and getting accepted in different places. And then all the, family friends and everything like that are asking, oh, what college are you going to go to? And that was just kind of always the expected thing was for, after you graduate high school, you go to college. And so kind of the mindset that I had at the time was it seemed like literally my only option was to go to college. And I was totally okay with that. I had no problem with going to college. It seemed like it was a fun thing to get out of town for a couple years and party and learn some cool new things. But anyways, most of the schools that I was looking at, I would typically apply to their computer science department because again, I was kind of interested in game programming because I knew I wasn't really much of an artist. I was more that mathematical, science, technical kind of mind. However, as you're talking amongst your friends and you hear what schools they're interested in, stuff like that, a bunch of my friends were actually applying to and had a strong interest of going to California State University, Chico, which I'll just call Chico from now on. And so anyways, I went home and started kind of looking through some of the majors they had and saw they had this one. At the time it was called Applied Computer Graphics, but it was literally just video game development, computer animation, all kinds of cool stuff like that. And so I was like, hey, this is perfect. I got a ton of friends going to this school. It's in-state, so it's not too far away. It's not going to be too expensive. And they offer this program that's, kind of something that I want to do anyways. So, hey, let's give it a shot. So yeah, I ended up getting accepted there and went to school there for 4 years, and the rest is history. So now I'm going to talk about some factors that may influence your decision to go to college for game development or not. So the first one I'd like to bring up is cost. So of course college is, pretty expensive. The cost of tuition are going up and up and up every year, and you hear all kinds of stories about people driving themselves into like tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars of college debt, and that's completely absurd. Luckily, that was not the experience that I had. Again, like I mentioned, I went to school in state. I went to a California State University, which is different than like a University of California. So the state universities are much cheaper. Also, I did pretty well in high school and was able to get a bunch of grants and scholarships. So my tuition was like pretty much nothing. I had most of my tuition covered, which was something that I'm extremely lucky for, and I know most people don't have that same experience. So for me, the cost of my college was not really that bad. It was kind of mainly the living expenses, which in a college town like Chico was not really much. It's easy to get by pretty cheaply out there. By the way, Chico, really beautiful area. It's just kind of in the middle of a bunch of farmlands, and then all of a sudden you just come into this city that's out of nowhere. It's Chico, California. And there's a bunch of just like really great hiking trails and some nice rivers and really beautiful place. I like it a lot. But people like to get a little crazy there, so, be careful. Now, if you were like me back when I was in high school and pretty much had like no desire to do any work, I did my homework and stuff like that, but, I didn't really want to. I had no desire to do anything extra above and beyond that. I kind of just did the minimum work that I had to do, turned it in, and usually did pretty well on it. And frankly, that's not the mentality that you can have if you want to get into game development, especially independent video game development where you're doing most of the stuff on you. There's no one, you don't have a boss or a teacher or anything telling you what to do and what the deadlines are. So if you were anything like I was back then college might be a good idea for you because it could be kind of a good transitionary period to get you from that, fixed, everything is completely structured out for you, to kind of doing a lot more things on your own. So for me, my experience in college, you still kind of had deadlines and you still had like a rough outline of things to do, but everything in between, you were kind of still on your own for a lot of that. So for the particular program that I went through, they had a strong emphasis on learning how to learn. So it wasn't as much the teacher teaching you, every specific little thing in game development and every quirk and feature of every program. They were more kind of teaching you kind of the general stuff to get you up and running. But really what they wanted to instill on you is you need to go out and do research yourself and learn how to use the tools to do what you want them to. Because, the teachers only have so much time. They can only teach so much to the whole class. So you need to really be independent on your own, going out there, learning different things. And they'd show you good ways to find different resources and kind of figure out how to learn exactly what you need to complete the project and move on, and don't waste your time on other things. And another really great thing that I liked about the program that I went through is we first started out by doing kind of just like a low-level class in all different disciplines of game development. So we'd take, just 2D art classes, and then we'd do some 3D modeling classes, we'd do some 2D animation classes, 3D animation classes. They had us go through like a digital photography class to learn about photo composition and all kinds of things like that. We did some lower level programming courses. And again, these are the things that everyone who went through that program went through. So we got exposed to all different areas of game development. So they did this for a couple reasons. The first was, if you maybe found a strong interest in something that you never thought of before, then you could go into that discipline. Or maybe there's something that you were interested in, but you found out you ended up hating it, then you'd find that out real quickly as well. But more importantly than that is just having like the low level course of everything means that when you go into a professional setting and you start having to work with people in all different areas of game development, you can kind of understand where they're coming from and some of the challenges they might face. And so you can kind of talk with them and work with them a little bit closer because you kind of have that understanding of what exactly they're doing. Now, if you're just learning game development on your own, there's probably, some areas of game development that you just might completely skip over and avoid, and you'd have completely no knowledge of. And then maybe at some point you needed to use that area of game development. Obviously, you don't have the knowledge to do it yourself, and maybe working with another worker, it's going to be a little bit more challenging because you don't really understand what it is exactly that they're doing. And then lastly, I'd just like to talk about probably the most important part of going to college, in my opinion, and that is the people that you meet. Of course, there's all the teachers and all the staff, and I had, pretty much great interactions with all the teachers at Chico. They were all awesome people. I've had positive experiences with all of them. And most of them did work in the game development or computer animation industry. So they have that industry knowledge experience, and they can say, hey, this is what it's actually going to be like in a professional setting. So you need to start doing things this way or being prepared for this. And they're always open to have in-depth discussions about things going on in the games industry. And they were definitely up to date on everything. And of course, they're all gamers themselves. So they'll even just kind of shoot the shit sometimes and talk about whatever games they're playing. So that's always cool to have. But really, I cannot understate the value of the people that you meet and the friendships that you build during college. Because, you're young, you're at the time of your life where, you're just out on your own for the first time and you're navigating this crazy thing that is the real world for the first time. And then so you meet all kinds of crazy and interesting people. You end up building some awesome relationships with all these friends, people that you may have known in the past, you may strengthen your relationships with, and then you're going to meet all kinds of new people and end up having friendships that last your entire life. And yes, it is good that you meet all kinds of people within the game development major or whatever, going through the same program. Whether if you're a programmer and you're meeting other programmers to talk different programming stuff, or you're kind of expanding out of that to meet different kinds of artists and level designers and producers and all kinds of things like this. And again, this just kind of helps build out your perspective of all different areas of game development. But beyond that, you should be meeting other people, meeting people who have nothing to do with game development or technology at all. I have friends that are studying law, or they're going into PR or business or agriculture, and all these different cool things. You definitely want to diversify the amount of people you have interactions with, because it's just going to make you a more thoughtful and well-rounded person overall, just with that understanding of where everyone's coming from. And that's really one of the benefits you get from college, is you just get to interact with all kinds of different people, and it really just makes you understand people more. And the more you understand people, the more you can leverage that and become better yourself as a person and be able to provide more value to other people, be that through a product that you're creating or some type of entertainment that you're making. Being able to understand people and the struggles that they're going through, and then being able to provide value by giving them solutions to their problems, is going to make you a really successful person overall. So anyways, those are pretty much my main reasons why I think you should go to college for game development, or maybe whatever else you might be studying. Again, you definitely do not need to go to college for game development or, a lot of other things, let's be honest. But if you can make it work financially, I think it's a really great option for someone who, doesn't really have a clear idea in their head of what they want to do. Because it's kind of like something is better than nothing. And, if you go to college and you start doing something, maybe you realize you don't like it, or maybe you join a club and you learn about some other things that you never thought of. It could totally change your life and bring your life in a different direction. And I think there's a lot of positive benefit to come from that. And again, pretty much everything that I mentioned in this video, you don't have to do in college. You can join different clubs and meet different people. But just realize you're kind of on your own for a lot of that. When you're in college, you still have some teachers and other people to keep you accountable. Your friends are going to pressure you to go out and party, and then you're going to meet more people there. And I really just think that college is a great place for young people to, go out, experience the world, learn about themselves, learn about other people. And I think that's pretty much all I have to say for now. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you leave it a like. Also feel free to subscribe to the channel for lots more video game development content. Please let me know what your thoughts are on going to college in general or going to college for video game development down in the comment section below. But anyways, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one.